and the program is Round Table. This week on Round Table, we are bringing a topic that is very much seen in our society today, and that's about indecent dressing in our society. These oftentimes are perpetrated by the young ones, the young girls, the young boys as well, who are either in school. And we believe that this, to a large extent, has eroded the culture of Africanness that we used to know before now. And so we intend to, in the next 55 minutes or thereabout, to discuss how this has come to stay in our society and how we intend to rid the society of this indecent dressing, at least. And so, with me in the studio to discuss this topical issue is Dr. Mrs. Grace Shokoya. You're welcome to the program, Dr. Mrs. Dr. Mrs. Grace Shokoya is a senior extension fellow and pioneer program leader for the Women in Development program in Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, that is AMREC, University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. She combines teaching with research and extension services in the university. She is a professional nurse and holds 2 PhD degrees. Her first doctoral degree is in institutional administration from University of Ibadan, Nigeria, while her second PhD is in gender studies from the University of Natal, Durban, South Africa. You will agree with me that that makes her very relevant to the topic of discourse for today. Once again, Abidi, welcome to Roundtable.
Thank you.
So, to take the curtain raiser, we just want you to attempt indecent dressing, as it were, today. What will constitute, to what extent can someone dress and it will be referred to as being indecent, at least in African context?
Dressing is meant to cover. A dress is supposed to be a covering, if we want to look at it from that perspective. And if a dress is supposed to cover our nakedness, any type of dress that is not covering the parts of the body that are supposed to be covered could be termed as indecent. And indecent could also be seen as something that is immoral, or you can say that when somebody is dressed indecently, that person is dressed in an unacceptable manner, unacceptable to the society. As the presenter says, we are supposed to be, we are Africans, and what is decent in Africa may not be seen as decent in other parts of the country, or in other parts of the world. Africans, we are known all over the world to have a rich and cherished culture, and we are supposed to be dressed decently.
Yeah, good enough. We are in the week of Nigeria's 44th independence anniversary, and we do know that before now, our parents have been known to have these dainty sets of dressing. You know, they are always well dressed, and they are models anywhere they are. At what point can we say, looking at pre-independence and of course after independence, at what level can we say this begin to creep into fashion sense?
Okay, thank you. We can say that, well, let me refer to when I was growing up as a child, nearly 40 decades ago now. There used to be several styles of dressing then, when Nigeria was still very young. And we have mini skirts, which from my upbringing, I have learned that mini skirts is indecent. But in those days, by the grace of God, my mom is a seamstress. They were wearing minis, and my mommy will sew midis and maxis for me. I would be crying that, no, I want to be like the others, and I'll be crying. But I want to appreciate her role in making me the kind of a woman I am today. And she had imbibed it into me that whatever you wear that is not covering your body shapes, parts of the body that are supposed to be concealed, are not decent dresses. So I would not say that, I know that indecent dressing is now rampant, but I want to believe that we have been dressing indecently even since independence. Just that it's becoming more and more rampant because of the effects of globalization, the effects of the television, the internet, and all these foreign influences.
Now, for before a person can choose to dress in whatever way he wants, there could be something at the back of the mind. What can you say that this dress sense or whoever is dressing in that format intends to beam out, or what can be the real motive behind such dressing?
Okay. As I said earlier on, your dress is supposed to cover your nakedness. And the part of the body you decide to cover, or the quality of material or your style of dress, would be determined by the kind of outing or the kind of people you are meeting. Like someone usually says, it is the way you are dressed that will be addressed. Like today, am dressed in this manner. Tomorrow I may decide to dress in jeans, skirt. Day after tomorrow I may decide to dress in buba and niro because I want to work with my farm families. So it is the way I'm dressed that I will be addressed. And if I dress as a young girl and I go in a taxi cab or I climb on an akada, I should not be surprised if I'm addressed like a secondary school girl. And if I dress like a prostitute and I'm addressed as such, I should not complain. Or if I dress and I expose my body parts that are not supposed to be exposed and somebody harasses me sexually, then it is the way I've presented myself, because I've presented myself for abuse.
So can we say then that it is the level of the way they dress that actually explains why some young girls are being abused, either in the higher institution or in the society?
Exactly. Except for the fact that it's not all these girls that have that motive. Not all of them are actually having the motive of exposing their body parts. It is just a matter of either their upbringing or peer influences. They are doing it and I'm doing it. Not all of them know the implications of what they are doing. Hence the need to enlighten the parents, the society, the teachers, people who are supposed to be role models and mentors for these girls, to be able to guide them aright.
But what can the parent do now, where after bringing up your child, giving him the necessary virtues that is expected in the society, and then peer influences come? At what point would you say you want to blame the parent?
At what stage?
Yes, because the individual now must have decided this is what he wanted to do, despite the fact that the parents were there to guide and tailor the individual to the right path.
I want to stress that the kind of upbringing, from my own experience, it is the quality of upbringing that determines how peer influence will either permanently influence the change in character of a person, either a boy or a girl. Sometimes this upbringing is faulty, but even when this upbringing is not faulty, I know there are girls who fall by the wayside. The parents have their own role to play, the society has their own role to play, but the institution now, when these girls, these boys are leaving home for the institution, it now behoves the institution to map out a strategy to curb these modes of indecent dressing in the institutions, because the boys will graduate from these institutions and go into the world, and it is whatever they graduate with that will abide with them for the rest of their lives, and even that will influence the kind of upbringing they give to their own children.
Can we suggest any of this kind of guiding principle for the young ones? Because sometimes they are not prepared for the kind of changes they go ahead to experience, either in higher institutions, and then they feel if you don't dress the way your peers are dressing, you don't really belong to the gathering. And so what kind of advice can one give to these young ones here?
The young ones, I believe we know they need to be guided, and without stringent measures, no young person wants to comply. So that I want to believe that is why many of our tertiary institutions are now instituting dressing codes in the institutions, and lecturers, workers in the universities are in a position to implement these measures to ensure that these girls, these boys, in some cases, comply.
Well, the dressing code instituted in most of these institutions have equally been faulted, that the government or the institution, as it were, is only trying to bypass, facing the real problem that is on the campuses, that is that of the cultism to the dressing, that they see cultism as more threatening than the dress code. So, what do you have to say to this?
A balance will have to be struck because these are two evils. These are two evils. I know there are girls in the cults, in some cults, but this cultism affects the male gender more than the female gender, while this problem of indecent dressing affects the female gender more than the male gender. So I want to believe that a balance needs to be struck, and these are two evils that have to be faced squarely by our institution administration.
Now, using your own institution as a yardstick, to what extent can we say that the institutional dress code has been imbibed?
I know that our students in UNAP are most of the time dressed decently. We have not had serious cases of indecent dressing in UNAP. That is not to say that it is non-existent. And the university has not yet had any cause to institute a particular dress code because it has not been identified as a serious problem. But I have children in other institutions where dress codes have been instituted. I interact with my male children in these institutions, and they tell me what we can term as indecent dressing. You have the boys telling you a lot of things about how these girls dress hard and why, even in institutions where dress code has been instituted, how dress can, even when you say girls should not wear trousers, how girls can wear skirts that are provocative, how girls can wear dresses that are supposed to cover the whole body, but these dresses may be transparent, and yet you say they are observing the dress code of the institution.
So how can the institution begin to monitor this? Is it at the point of entering the university, or have a definite program that will curtail the students from exposing themselves indecently?
I will say both. Like in Babcock University, they will give parents the school's code of conduct, the kind of dresses your ward or child can wear. So that is for the parents to know that these are the kind of dresses you can provide for your wards or children. So that is at the entry point. And even in the school, you have the preceptors of the students monitoring what the students wear. Even when the students dress indecently, they know that they are being watched. And there are penalties for girls or boys caught dressed indecently. I think it should be at the entry point and even throughout their stay in universities or other tertiary institutions.
Yes, I just want to tell our viewers out there that you can be part of this program as we are discussing indecent dressing among the youth, either in the institutions of higher learning or at the society. And so the number to call on the program is 0804 504 5757, and you will be on live to the studios of OGTV on Roundtable. And I have in the studio Dr. Mrs. Grace Shokoya from UNAB. Doctor, there is this allegation that male lecturers actually indulge the young girls who apparently dresses indecently, and yet they seem to fraternize with them, and then they never seem to be scolding them in any way. And in fact, there are cases of have an affair with these girls. Don't you think this will continue to embolden them and think they are doing the right thing even while on campus?
You mean embolden the girls?
Yes,
because
that what
the
they are doing
male
is actually
lecturers
right.
are fraternizing with them. Yes, in a way. But I want us to look at the lecturer and look at the female student. Some university lecturers, as we see all around, and even on air, they are just men like any other man in a society. And what makes a man to be aggressive towards a lady is not more than the nakedness of a lady. So looking at the psychology of men, I would want to say that maybe, just like any other man, the lecturer must have been seduced by the dressing of the girl. So we come back to the girl, maybe because I'm the lady. You come back to the girl to ask her, what is your motive for dressing the way you have dressed? And as I said earlier on, many of these girls are not even out to seduce. They don't know the implication of their mode of dressing, hence they need to guide them. And then, coming back to the lecturer, we need to speak with our male lecturers to look at these girls as their own sisters, as their own children and wards, people to be guided. And if we have sanctions against lecturers who have an affairs with girls like this, if there are sanctions, then these things can be curtailed. If you want to have affair, have with girls outside your campus. Then you know you are supposed to be somebody who is guiding your students on campus. And girls too need to be guided, need to know need to know motive for exposing parts of the body. Because even in foreign countries, when they dress indecently, you find this kind of indecent dressing, mostly in summer, when the weather is very hot, terribly hot. Then they have excuse for exposing parts of their body. But here, even in cold weather, you have these girls wearing spaghetti, wearing this kind of dresses that expose their tummies and all this kind of dressing. But what I'm saying is that we have some of them that have the motive of seducing, have the motive of attracting men, but not all of them have this motive, because it is just because they are not properly guided.
Well, I haven't established the fact that not all of them are actually out to seduce. Then the role of the guide, who's going to play that role? Is it the institution in trying to create a guidance and counseling unit for the young ones, or who's going to do the job?
I'm aware that most institutions have guidance and counseling units, and I think it should now be the role of these units to organize enlightenment programs for these girls, to let them know. You can show them audiovisuals, you can show them videos to let them know the implications, the dangers that can emanate from the way they dress, to let them know that they provoke people, they provoke men with their kind of dressing. You want to enlighten them, and you want most of the time, even we as lecturers on campus, we are cautious to guide these girls, because in some instances, when you tell a girl, why are you dressed like this? The girl may look at you like this as if, what are you saying? I came out of my home this morning. My mom saw nothing wrong with the way I'm dressed. So what role are you playing? So that goes back again to the role of parents and the society. But if there are sanctions and there are regulations in the university, the girls, the boys will comply, and they will know they need to be sensitized again and again that your mentors, your role models are in a position to guide you. And if there are sanctions, I'm sure they will comply. Just like they are complying in, I'm sure, I'm aware of 2 institutions, tertiary institutions in Ogun State, where they have dress codes, and students comply.
Now, to avoid this, like the instance you have just cited now, that a lecturer calls a female student who is provocatively dressed, and then the student retort with questioning the lecturer. Don't you think this is an affront? And what kind of law can protect the lecturer in doing this, so that there are no frictions between student-teacher relationship?
That is the point I'm making. There needs to be rules and regulations. There need to be sanctions. If there is a sanction, then that student will get a reward for that affront. And if he gets that sanction, another student will not do that. It will be a deterrent to others.
Well,
And it will enhance the confidence of lecturers to go on and do what they are supposed to do if they know that they are backed by some rules or regulations of the university or polytechnic.
well, doctor, even at the level of sanctions, we do know that there are some influential parents who encourages their children to dress the way they are. And to what extent can the institution really uh, ensure that they didn't lose grip over whatever discipline they have given out to such students? You know, they will just come around either over the phone calls, and then the student is left off the hook.
And that depends on the university administration. We know institutions where this have worked, and I know it can work if the administration of the institution is firm enough. If your ward is suspended for 2 weeks, and you know the ward has to go for 2 weeks or a whole semester, and there's nothing you can do about it, the guy will go and come back, and losing a semester means losing a year. So other students will learn from it.
Now, I want to come back to the male lecturers. They have a choice whether to go ahead having an affair with a young girl or not, no matter how provocatively dressed the student is. So, don't you think there should be a level of orientation within the male lecturers themselves to insist they are a guide and not to be lured by such provocativeness or whatever we have?
And that is true. But you know, I have said that the psychology of men, we know that men on campus as either students or lecturers are just like any other men outside campus. And they can be lured or seduced. But I'm saying that these lecturers should first and foremost see themselves in their capacity as teachers, as guides to these girls. We cannot rule out the fact of the need for us to enlighten even the male and female lecturers on campus, because we have seen cases of male students and male lecturers telling us that it is no more these girls, it is no more we that we are harassing these girls. It is these girls that they are now harassing us sexually. We know that. But we are saying that lecturers should be responsible enough to assume the responsibility of being teachers and guides of these students, and restrain themselves as being primarily men, and be lured by the way these girls. I know it's difficult, but I know it's possible.
Well, I don't understand if you insist that you do know it's difficult, because if a lecturer is a married man, I see no reason why he cannot honor his marriage and then, be the big father to the young girls.
Not all of them are married.
Are we not admitting
We have a lot
the
of them that are singles and are still looking for people to flirt around with, or either to flirt around with or to marry. So they are just like any other man outside campus.
Well, at this point, we want to take a look at the role of, we've been able to mention one or two instances, the role the parents have to play in guiding these young ones. The religious institutions in themselves, I do think they have a role in this. Would it mean that they have failed in their responsibility of guiding the young ones?
I will not say they have failed, because I'm sure that no religion professes going about without dresses. I know my own Christian religion. What we've been taught as children, what I teach my children, is that we need to cover our nakedness. So I will not say that religious bodies have failed. All I will say is that religious bodies need to intensify efforts in the upbringing of children, male and female.
It is believed that students who are privileged to go through missionary schools, either the Ansarudin at the secondary level or the Christian denominational secondary schools, they tend to keep these morals, and then as they move up going into the higher institution, they still maintain that. But these days, it doesn't seem to look that way now. Whether they belong to any religious group at the secondary school level, it doesn't hold anymore.
I think it still holds, because the Bible says, teach a child the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And I made myself an example. The kind of upbringing that you give a child will influence that child throughout life in most cases. And we can say that in many schools now, they don't enforce religious discipline. But if we go back to religion as it is, religion still teaches morality and decency. And I would just plead with our ministries of education and our schools and even the private owned institutions that they should bring us these children in the way of the Lord. Because when the Spirit of Lord is in you, you know, even without being told, what is right and what is decent.
I do know that in those days there used to be moral lessons in primary and secondary schools. Can the absence of this lead to any of this problem?
Definitely. But I'm aware, I may not be right, that many schools still teach moral lessons. We have the religious schools still teaching religion. So I'm sure that it has its own role to play. But apart from religion, we want to stress the role of the parents. The role of the parents and the community, the society. Like a son of mine gave me a case study a few weeks ago that a girl stood up in the bus wanting to preach. She said, "Praise the Lord, let us pray." And one of the guys in the bus, Molue in Lagos, just looked back and said, "Who are you? Look at how you are dressed. What do you want to preach?" So that tells us that the society too has a role to play, because the way that girl was dressed now, even if she was not aware that her kind of dressing does not match the kind of religion she wanted to profess, the society had played a role in putting her into check.
Yes, it is also believed that the words of the parents will always go with the children wherever they are, even if their eyes cannot be there. So what would you want to advise parents to do?
Parents, we need to guide our children. I'm a parent too, and I want to be reminded that I need to prepare my children for the time they will not be with me anymore. So how do I want my child to represent me? How do I want my child to represent my family when I'm not there? So if parents have this behind their minds, they will know that the child will go away and represent the family either positively or negatively. But I care to say that not all parents see things this way, because you have parents. I have I have friends of daughters who will tell you that, "Mom, I don't even have any skirt," meaning that they wear trousers. There may not be anything wrong with trousers, but what kind of fitting does a trouser give you if you have trousers all around? You have a wardrobe full of trousers. So what kind of a parent? It's not all parents that we can influence with this kind of enlightenment talk, because it is these girls of today that will become parents of tomorrow, and they will have their own children, so, and it goes on and on. So the institution will have its own role, and society too will have its own role. I'm looking at a period where the state government and federal government will have legislations on the kind of dresses people can wear on the streets. And this will curb parents to know the kind of dresses they will buy or sew for their children, and the kind of dresses they too will wear in the society.
You know, it has taken a very funny dimension when the young ones will see a decently dressed person and they, make mockery, saying this is old school. It's rather ridiculous. But even in the church setting, we do know that there are some churches that that are not frowning at this dress sense. They believe when they come, the Lord will meet with them, and then subsequently they will have a change of dress sense. But it doesn't look as if the desire, the objective is being achieved, because more and more of these churches, especially the new generation churches, there are a lot of this dress sense in the church. So is it not a misplacement of priority to some extent in this church?
That will be left for the church to determine. We are not in a position to castigate, because the objective of those churches would be to save souls. And they believe that when Jesus touches this soul, that soul will change dramatically. So I will not say that it's a misplaced priority. It depends on how it is taken.
And when the soul refuses to change and it begins to have an influence on others,
that will be for that forum.
It's all right. I don't know to what extent the broken homes have been able to influence this dress sense. We do know that parents that are not together, the father, the mother, oftentimes will leave the children most vulnerable to all sorts of things, the cultism, indecent dresses, and all these things. So how can parents begin to look at the future of their children to ensure that they stay together and build the future of their children?
That is a very valid point. Like, I have just concluded the research asking children what influences their psychological well-being. And the number one factor is peace in the home. So even when homes are not broken, when parents are disagreed, these children are not at peace and they cannot make headway even in their studies. So I would just want to plead with our parents, mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, to be more tolerant of each other for the sake of these children, and maintain stable families. Because when a child grows up in stable families, they will be trained jointly and they make better children and better adults in society.
Yes, we're still expecting the calls. The number has been displayed on your TV set. The number is 0804 504 5757. We do hope to take one or two calls before we bring the program to a close this afternoon. All right. We equally believe that, or it has been believed that the influences of foreign movies and musical clips have equally done a lot of damage to the African dress sense. How can we get out of this scenario?
We will come back to the broadcasting stations and the legislative bodies. So it borders on what you show us, what you view on our screens. Maybe we need to do more censoring of our programs, and going back home again to the society, to the homes. Parents need to let their children know what to imbibe from these foreign influences and what not to imbibe, because not all of them, a lot of these things are good for us, but not all of them.
Well, you talked about the broadcasting organization. I hope you are not limiting it to the TV, because these days broadcasting has gone beyond
TV, because we are in OGTV.
Okay.
TV, because we are here, and we know we have a lot of these influences over the internet.
No, that's right.
And there's no control. The control you can have there is to control your own word or child, to let them know what to watch and what not to watch, what to imbibe and what not to imbibe.
All right. These young ones, as well as their parents, to have access to buying movies, musicals on the roadside, and then they watch this, they enjoy it, and then it has its own influence on them, no doubt. Even where the TV stations are trying to censor the viewership. In fact, some programs are marked, 18 and above, and all these things. They're trying to do that, but I think more is being learned from what kind of access they have in the society.
Then that gives more responsibility to the parents. But now the parents are not even there. Parents, religious bodies, and the individual. And the individual is responsible for whatever goes in and out of that person. But that is when that person is an adult. Who is responsible for the child? It is the parent. And unfortunately, the parent is not always there because of the economic situation. We have to go out and fend for the family. We are not always there, as our own parents were there when we were growing up.
I would like us to draw a line there as to the role of the community now, because we have to be careful in a situation where the community will want to correct someone who is going on the street. For instance, the instance you made mention of in the Molue, that could, spark up some kind of uproar in the society if the lady in question is that aggressive individual and wants to query the person that has observed her dress sense, and then a fracas can ensue. So how can the community play this role without heating the society up?
The community is made up of people from different homes. So it goes back to our individual homes. If it depends on the kind of people that are in the Molue. If they are of the same mind with with the person who accosted that girl, that there may not be any problem. But if the girl has supporters in that bus, then a fracas will ensue and it will become a police case, and that is another kettle of fish entirely. So what I will say is that the home, it is, the family is the smallest unit of the society. It is where we come from that influences how we behave in the community and society.
Okay, and I will take you up from that, the home. Now, the parents themselves, oftentimes they are too preoccupied with their businesses, and they hardly have time to go and check on their wards, either in secondary or higher institutions, and then these have given a leeway to them to be wayward. What would you advise in this context as someone in the institution environment?
What we are saying, and what affects me too as a mother and wife, is that we should make more time. We should make more time for our children. We should make more time for our families. And talking realistically, it may not be easy, because we cannot afford to sit at home performing the wifely and motherly roles without fending for the family. But I want to plead with our fathers and mothers that if they have it in mind that they have these roles to play, you may not be there 7 days in a week, but you can be there maybe an hour per day, or even an hour in 2 days, or even a whole day in 7 days, or even a day in 2 weeks, just to play, just to listen to these children, listen to their views, know what they are going through. Share with them what they have viewed on the internet. Share with them the movies they have watched. In discussing with them, you know what they are imbibing, and you are able to disabuse their minds against what you know it is not good for their wholesome development.
Well, that would be for parents that are not involved in this themselves. But for parents who themselves are involved in indecent dressing and they encourage their children, what kind of education can one prescribe for such parents to ensure that they don't do so much damage to their children?
I'm afraid I don't. I don't know. If the parent is him or herself unteachable or has not imbibed this culture, there's no way you can ask the parents now to influence the dressing of the child. And that is why we say that the Yoruba adage says ilé la ti ń kẹ́ṣọ̀ọ́ ròde, àti wípé ẹni tí wọn ọba kan lé wọn akọ wá látìta. So if these children cannot be taught from home, it means they will have to be taught from outside, maybe from the institution, or even cautioned from outside, like the girl in the Molue.
Well, caution. Now, I think that barely led to immorality, because that is why most of them are being raped in the society. So would that be a kind of lesson to them?
In a way, it may be a lesson. But unfortunately, not all raped girls, not all the victims of rape cases are guilty
of indecent
dressing.
All right, can it be said that the government is doing enough in the fight against indecent dressing, bearing in mind that there are dress codes that are being instituted in institution of learning? Are they really doing enough to tackle this problem?
Mm, I will not say the government has started, not to say have done enough. I don't say the government having started to address this problem of indecent dressing. And not all our tertiary institutions are yet instituting dress codes. And I believe that if dress code is instituted in our tertiary institutions, even indecent dressing in society will be curbed among these growing girls and boys and parents as well.
Well, it is on this note that we want to draw the curtains on the program roundtable. We have been discussing indecent dressing among the youths, and of course, we have in the studio Dr. Mrs. Grace Shokoya. She has insisted that I put her Mrs. And so, Doctor, you're welcome to the program. We have been discussing indecent dressing, and the lesson here is that we should try to be African. We should preserve our culture. We should be decent and moral in whatever we do, and ensure that whatever you decide to wear, you should be moderate and ensure that there are no provocative intentions in so doing. So we want to hope that next week when we bring the program again, we'll be able to take some calls. And on behalf of my producer, Omo Esene, I want to say good afternoon. Thank you for sparing.
A pleasant afternoon to you out there, and you're welcome to Roundtable live from the stable of Ogun State Television Channel 25 UHF. It's been 3 weeks or thereabout that Roundtable has come your way. We are only trying to repackage to give you the best in terms of discussion program. And like we always tell you, on this program, we facilitate a dialogue process by bringing people from different walks of life to discuss prospects and constraints of socio-political and economic development. And you will agree with me that sport is part of development. And in fact, it is a unifying factor in Nigeria today. And it is on this note that we are bringing two sportsmen into our studio to discuss sports. Most importantly, the Gateway Tertiary Institution Games 2004 that has just been flagged off yesterday in Abeokuta. And so I have with me in the studio the Chairman Implementation Committee of GATIG, which is the acronym for Gateway Tertiary Institution Games in Ogun State, Architect Tokumbo Fowode. Architect, you're welcome to the program.
Good afternoon.
And also with him is the consultant to the governor on sports development in Ogun State, and that's talking about Professor Sheun Omotayo. Prof.
Good afternoon, viewers at home.
Yes, you will agree with me that these are sports lovers who knows their onions when it comes to sports administration in Ogun State. And so the Gateway Games has just been flagged off, and we intend in the next 45 minutes or thereabout to look at the objective of this game and what we intend to achieve in our promising state, Ogun State. So I'll start with the chairman of the implementation committee. What exactly is the objective of these games?
Basically the objectives of the game are one. We want to kind of use the game to kind of arouse the interest of authorities in schools, to provide facilities that will kind of encourage students to be actually be interested in sports. That is part of the curriculum in school development should include sports, which we believe is a veritable source at which students can really expend energies that are not really being geared towards academics. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is the fact that as Ogun State is moving towards 2006, and we are supposed to host the games, and we expect that this can also be a source by which talents that can represent Ogun State can be sourced. So basically, those are the two main objectives.
Right, Prof, you want to highlight the theme of these games because I understand it is kicking cultism and drug abuse out of the state. We do know that these two menace has eaten deep into the fabrics of Nigerian youth over the years, and now with these games you intend to kick it out, eradicate it, or curb it to a minimum level. So how do you intend to bring this theme into the young ones in tertiary institutions?
Thank you very much for the question. Like I said, at so many interviews I've had with journalists with regards to sports, the theme of the Gateway Tertiary Institution Games is that embrace sports, shun cultism, drug abuse, and indecent dressing. And you will see that if we provide alternative, viable, desirable activities for our youths, you will see that they will not be diverted to undesirable activities. Yesterday was an opportunity for all our youths in all the tertiary institutions to come and showcase all those desirable things that we love to see: soccer artistry, dancing, singing, march past, those things that all of us will see, we will clap, we will want to associate with them because they are our future leaders. And this is in line with the vision of His Excellency Otuba Gbinga Daniel, that we should use everything in our social environment to better the lives of our youth and to create a better future for these youths. So we are now trying to expand activities in our institutions so that it will not be limited to only classroom activities, listening to their lecturers, dishing out lectures all the time, and for them to go to their hostels to sleep. As soon as they finish their lectures, they should now imbibe the culture of sports, not the culture of cultism, not the culture of violence, not the culture of hooliganism. As you can see in His Excellency's speech yesterday, all these were clearly crafted and enunciated by His Excellency. And the youths listened carefully to His Excellency. And you can see that we have started seeing a lot of changes, particularly from the JCC, the Joint Campus Committee. You can see the support they gave. They went and carried the message to their colleagues. And that is we're already achieving the benefit of the theme of this year's games, that is embrace sports, shun cultism, drug abuse, and indecent dressing.
I haven't identified the fact that there is need for the correct socialization process in the young ones via these games. What would be the modalities for bringing in these young ones into participating in these sports? For instance, those that will be involved in the dancing, those that will participate in the event itself. What are the modalities for bringing them into the games?
Uh, Naturally, before the games, one would have expected that in schools they will have organized interfaculty competitions, rectors' club, vice chancellors' club, chairman's club, that kind of a thing. We expected that competitions would have been held, and that therefore through those competitions, the best in each game will have been brought here for the games.
Okay, Professor.
And furthermore, when they now get to this kind of competition, they now have the opportunity to be part of the state contingent for Gateway Games 2006. And as I speak, the best in table tennis in Nigeria, the best volleyball team in Nigerian universities, they are right here with us in Abeokuta, wanting to show the citizens of Ogun State the best of the skills in volleyball, in table tennis, in judo, in wrestling. And also, yesterday you see that we started interrupting the program for those of them who have other talents other than sports. As I speak, there is what we call Gatic Extra, which is being organized by some other supporters of Gatic, where our youths are also going to be given other opportunities. That is, so Gatic is not all about running and jumping. It is a festival, as it were.
Why do we have 4 schools participating in this experiment?
Yeah, we have the tertiary institutions in our state are just 3, and we wrote to all tertiary institutions in the southwest, and it is those who indicated their willingness to be part of GATIC this year that are allowed to participate. And I think that also has to do with some of the schools that are being closed for now for some reasons which GATIC is trying to address. And we are hoping that by the time we are going to have the next one, because it's going to be annual, the schools that will participate will be more than this.
Okay. So, Architect Fode, we do know that in sports activities there are always the cases of machinery being used, so what measures are being put in place to discourage machineries in the tertiary institutions that will be coming forward to participate in these games?
We already, a screening committee is on at GATIC, and that screening committee will expect that every athlete from the school has to accompany himself with the registration form, your ID card, I mean a lot of gamut of things that you need to bring to really show that you're a bona fide student of that school. So the issue of mercenaries, we need to reduce that to the barest minimum, and I don't think it's going to surface at all, because measures that we've taken now are such that will not allow that kind of thing to really happen at the games.
Okay, you quite agree with him, Prof?
Yes, exactly. Like I told you, it's one of these games is also simulating the opening ceremony in 2006, and the precision with which the committee has done what we call screening and accreditation is highly commendable, in the sense that within a span of 1 or 2 hours, screening was done with, and I can assure you that the people that are competing are genuine students of those tertiary institutions, because the essence here is to let us see all this upcoming and give them the opportunity to become professionals, and we will now want to groom them to become stars in future. So if we continue to mingle them with professionals, it will be difficult for them to be identified now in order for them to be put into a developmental program which the state government has put in place.
Okay, having established that these games is going to be a test run for the 2006 games that we are expecting to host to win, I don't know if there are more facilities being put in place at the stadium for now. What are the new things that are being put in place, and so that we'll have a new look stadium before the games?
I don't know if you want me to.
Yes, yeah.
I think as I speak, you remember that the Gateway, the Jebode Stadium it's been expanded. A games village is being set up there now, and work has advanced tremendously there. That's at Ijebu Ode. And I assure you that that games village, with what I've seen there, I don't think we have anything like that here, around here. And I know that Abeokuta Stadium, to the MQ Stadium, Abeokuta, is also going to experience a lot of additional facilities that will actually cope with the 2006 games. And in 2006, I think for the first time, I understand the National Sports Commission has allowed that we are about the first states that we are allowed to host the games in various centers. So the facilities that we are going to, I think a lot of money is going to be spent on it, and the facilities will be upcoming, and they will quite be up to the standard of what you expect in any games at all.
Yes, if we are using it to measure standard in international world, one problem I think we should put in our minds is the public power supply, which we know that it's erratic. So, what are you doing to ensure that lightning in these centers are adequate, and we cannot fall into the problem of power outages and what we used to experience?
Well, say what I will regard as force majeure, the performance of NEPA yesterday uh, didn't personally fall short of my expectation, because for over 90% of the period that we required power, we, we had priority transmission, except for the little hitch. We had just about 7 minutes to the end of the soccer match. And I think it is good that Ogun State is planning ahead, and this has been identified. And I can assure you that at what we now regard as the OGD pace, you can be sure that that is a matter that will be solved at the pace with which the state government deliver on projects, and meet our people with benefits of democracy. So about power outages, I think that is about the least of the problem when it comes to 2006 games. Good enough, we are doing the test run now, and as I speak, while others are looking at what happened yesterday, some of us are somewhere trying to collate areas where we know that we need to do a lot of adjustments. And by the time the report is ready, we are going to now start the improvements in terms of logistics and what have you.
Well, I didn't know if you actually include in your collation the fact that while the fireworks were going on, it was a beautiful sight, but the lights at the stadium were not shot to make it more beautiful. Or maybe it's an oversight or something.
It's really not an oversight. It is just, we tell you, it's a test run.
Okay.
So some other time, don't forget that this is not going to be the last festival to test run the games in 2006. By the time we unveil the next stage, which for strategic reasons we cannot say here, maybe people will see better fireworks.
Okay. Now, talking of test running at FOD, as the implementation committee chairman, what would be your observation as it were now as to what you expect improvement? You said it's annually now, right? So, in the next year, what would you want to improve upon now from what we have started with yesterday?
I think maybe it is too early today, because from what I've seen yesterday, I think the outing was quite impressive, and I think if we continue at that pace, I think by the time we move towards the next stage in 2005, we'll have perfected a lot of things. But as at now, because the Secretariat of GATIC is very powerful, we have a very powerful man there, and he's doing a powerful work, and that's the backbone you actually need. Once you have that, a lot of things become very easy. And so we have a lot of all of that being done, and we have established a structure now which makes it very easy for us to move to the next stage. But as now, as I speak, I don't think I can see any serious lapse that will really involve a change or a shift in the way we have planned our things. God helping us, we hope that as the thing goes, by the end of the games, we will have seen, maybe at that point, maybe towards the end, we might be in a position to now look at it and see maybe one or two lapses. But as I speak now, I don't think I've seen anything.
Well, that is coming from the Chairman Implementation Committee of GATIC. That is the Gateway Tertiary Institution Games. I just want to tell our viewers at this point that you too can be part of this discourse by calling the telephone numbers that will be displayed on your TV screen and make your contributions. And the topic of discourse is GATIC, as it has just been flagged off in Ogun State. And the policy trust of this games is to ensure that we rid the society of antisocial vices, especially cultism and drug abuse. Prof, I'll have to come to you now. What logistics have been put in place to ensure that the officials that will be involved in these games are well remunerated, and we don't have cases of after the games they will be running after whoever is in charge for the remuneration?
Well, I think that question is better put to the Chairman Implementation Committee, but report reaching my own office gives an indication that all issues of allowances have been budgeted for, and officials are going to be adequately remunerated before, as at when due. That's the way I want to go. But I think the chairman will be able to expatiate on that, because that is an information for which I'm not too competent to talk about.
So let's just try. Okay, if we can take one or two calls before the chairman reacts to it. Let's see. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Excuse me, can we meet you? You may.
Okay, thank you very much, Dukia. Dukia was my student in Macquarie.
So his comment is actually on commendation for a job well done. Let's see if we can take this. It's all right. The question I posed is that
I think what we have done is that, like I told you, the secretariat at GATIC is being manned by a powerful team, and what we have done is that we expect that at the end of every day, returns are made to that office. Returns in terms of scores, the results of each game, and the officials that have participated in that game. And once that gets to the secretariat, the system has been designed which makes the honorarium or the stipend to be given to these officials to be computed immediately, and it will be given to them. So there's no problem with that at all.
hello, good afternoon. We lost that. Hello.
It's lost.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Yes, we seem to be losing most of the call, most of the call now. Yes, we keep on with it. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. This is Roundtable Live. Can we meet you? Your name, where you're calling from, and your contribution.
Hello.
Let's wait for now and see if we can just go on with the program, and we take more calls. So, hello. Well, I seem to be giving you some other extra assignment here in the studio. Let's just continue, and we'll see if we get luckier there some other time. So, what is the financial commitment of the participating institution to this game and the state government?
Well, there's a state government policy regarding funding of sports, because if you look at sports, is such a social service which the state government is trying to package along international standard, and all stakeholders in the tertiary institution games have their own financial commitment to the management and organization of the games. So the sharing formula was agreed upon, I think, at the level of 30, 30, 40. But the largest share was that of the state government, and we really have to thank His Excellency Motoba Benga Daniel for accepting to take the largest share of the funding of the games.
It's all right. I think I'll just move this closer and see if